we have the Republican story hour propaganda part one, which is the banality of celebrity. Now, conservative influencer Jack Posobiec read his so-called book to a dozen kids on a Wednesday morning in D.C. But what the fuck for? Now, it was a recent Wednesday morning last week in Washington, and the crowd was small. The headliner was late, and none of the expected counter-protesters had materialized. Now, Jack Posobiec didn't seem concerned. The 38-year-old pathetic loser, or celebrity of sorts in the maggot world since Pizzagate, was sitting on the floor of the Cleveland Park Public Library. He was wearing a white button-down shirt against a dark suit jacket, squatting forward. He looked unnaturally bulky at the shoulders and hips. His slim frame swelled up in his pathetic crotch, so that the first thing you noticed was the sharp horn of hair that was gelled with great care above his high cresting forehead. Now, to an audience of maybe a dozen children, Posobiec was introducing the Island of Free Ice Cream, which is a picture book that he purportedly wrote about predators who lure unsuspecting animals to their doom, and the children's parents watch from further back. Now, Wolf Island was a dark and spooky place full of shadows, he explained. He glanced up past the adults toward a camera that had been set up by Real America's Voice, which is another fake news channel, a streaming and television venue that rose to prominence by hosting Steve Bannon and fellow communists, he added. And he gave a pathetic laugh, so did the parents, and the kids didn't catch on really anyway. But Posobiec was the first reader in the Freedom Island Story Hour, organized by the Texas publisher Brave Books to promote a series of children's stories commissioned according to the company's website to honor an invisible ferryman and to instill a love of truth. It was a part of a nationwide tour for the latest Brave Books released As You Grow by child actor turned evangelist Kirk Cameron, meant as a conservative counter to the popular Drag Queen Story Hour, which emphasizes the gender fluidity of childhood and the gay role models. In addition to Cameron and Posobiec, Shia Raichik, who's the creator and proprietor of the social media account Democrats of TikTok, as well as Sean Spicer, Donald Trump's former White House press secretary, were scheduled to read. If on this early spring morning in our nation's capital you happen to drop by your neighborhood library, curious perhaps about the multiple law enforcement vehicles parked up front, what you discovered in the main reading room would probably have seemed like a total fucking bust. The reading itself started more than a half an hour late, and Kirk Cameron didn't arrive until a few minutes after that, and there's a lot of people trying to find a place to park. But this is what Eric Presley, Braves creative director, explained. The initial police presence had dispersed given the lack of a turnout, and what's more, everyone in attendance had to first pass by a prominent display arranged by the library staff or the LGBTQ themed books and pride flags. Over the course of the morning, the reading room was at best half full. It wasn't even 100% full. Now for Jack Posobiec, however, everything he needed was already in place before he even sat down on the thin carpet he had spent the morning diligently assembling the event into a broader narrative, the one he'd arrived at the library intending to share. He basically tweeted, "On my way to the book reading just before 9 a.m. to his 2 million followers, which is more than the National Review and the Heritage Foundation combined. And good morning, Democrats." At 9:25 a.m. he wrote, "Breaking heavy police presence outside the library this morning. And pray for us." No, thank you. I'm not playing for inbreeding rednecks. In response to the library's prominent display of the gay reading material and rainbow banners, he quipped, "Not one America flag. They wanted to make sure our children saw," he added. If he has kids, I can't believe anybody would inbreed with that fucker. He proceeded to appear live from the lobby on Bannock's podcast War Room, joking with the one-time Trump's Bengali about how all the authors in attendance should have dressed in drag. And afterward, he posted a short video of flash cuts from the event in which he added a personal summary of the island of ice cream. It's like he basically put it up. It's like Cuba and East Germany and the Soviet Union all together. And basically, he read from his book for over 10 minutes to the parents and children in the room, and the hyenas were there and helping them, he said, once again looking past the families assembled in front of him. As it passed jobs and stand-ins toward the real audience, the millions beyond the camera's lens, who would experience this rent solely from the material it was providing, because hyenas are communists too. Now this is the banality of celebrity with its distinctive architecture, lackluster real life set against rarefied online lattice work, is what makes someone like Posobiec, at least in this current movement, inescapable. He has a platform that most American politicians would envy. The Guardian's Washington bureau chief David Smith had wrote in March, and it could help decide the Republican presidential primary race in 2024. Now, his recent online activity includes crude attacks on Antifa, the New York Times 1619 Project, and transgender rights, like the Gestapo, and ready-made talking points for candidates. Posobiec's approach embodies the broader desire of the GOP's mainstream for accountability in the guise of action. Now, for creating a confrontational event that, at least in its second life as an online spectacle, can counter the supposed unexamined orthodoxy of liberal arguments on issues like race, sexuality, and education. Now, Posobiec, of course, is not looking to strike a nuanced position or engage in a genuine debate, but across the board he conveys an uncanny instinct for the most extreme position. He characterizes his opponents as pedophiles and murderers, which is what his group is. And language like that, like the rest of his activism, is best understood as akin to a physical gesture, and the act of expression is the meaning. Over the last half-decade, Donald Trump has praised Posobiec repeatedly for no reason whatsoever, but in response to the former squatter's recent indictment, Posobiec vowed to go after the prosecutor in the case, and he has called for a coordinated maggot attack to bring down the American financial system. Now, most people don't even know who the fuck this pathetic piece of shit is, but this one guy said that he came across Jack Posobiec back in December of 2016, in the wake of the Pizzagate scandal. He's a pro QAnon conspiracy theorist, and he's basically and Pizzagate was supposedly it's about that basically people were claiming that Democrats were operating a child sex ring, which they were not, and a torture ring based at Comet Ping Pong, which is a pizzeria and bar in Northwest Washington D.C. that happens to be a personal favorite for anybody that's in Washington D.C. It's one of the few places in the city where you can meet a colleague for a drink, take your kids out to a fun family dinner, and on a weekend catch a performance by a local band. After Posobiec implied that he glimpsed a secret door during his own visit to the pizzeria, an AR-15 wielding gunman from North Carolina stormed the place and fired off a few rounds that mercifully hit no one, before eventually he surrendered to the police. And hours earlier, somebody had met a friend for drinks at the Comet small bar. It was difficult to fathom how close that they'd come to being there. Now, half a decade later, in the wake of everything Posobiec had gone on to do, from promoting to Stop the Steal, which there was no steal anyway, to calling Shakespeare fans Nazis, which is what the Trump supporters are, and to getting banned from the dating app Bumble, it takes a moment seeing his name again to contextualize what he's become. Republican voters David Weigel had wrote in a recent Semaphore newsletter, seeing him as the most cited influencer by far, someone who will matter as much to the future GOP voters as Washington Post columnist George Will did to Republicans a generation ago. Now, for Posobiec, the key to the culture war is that it has no limits. Instead, the future is simply terrain across which to which this never-ending battlefield might expand, providing an endless supply of material he can then package into his potent, easily accessible brand of coverage or outrage. Now, up close and in person, amid the poor turnout of a local children's story hour, the true extent of his influence isn't necessarily apparent, but instead he comes across as someone not that all far removed from his own biography. Now, Jack Posobiec III was born in Norristown, Pennsylvania, which is a suburb of Philadelphia, back in 1984. Now, his father is a psychiatric nurse, and his mother worked for a pharmaceutical company, and they both voted for Bill Clinton twice. And both were lifelong NRA members in high school, attending the Kennedy Kenrick Catholic High School. He worked at a deli, where he became interested in the local music scene. He taught himself to play guitar. He joined a band called China Syndrome, and he was a fan of David Bowie. For college, he went to a nearby Temple University, where he first got interested in politics and joining the Republican Club in response to his professor's advocacy in class of Democratic positions. After graduation, he interned for Rick Santorum's U.S. Senate campaign, and he worked on down-ballot tickets too. first in-depth experience with political pranksterism. Now, his next move would take him halfway across the world to Shanghai, where he worked for the American Chamber of Commerce, and while abroad, he played a minor role as a street thug in the 2008 martial arts film Forbidden Kingdom. Now, the following year, he returned home, and after brief stints as a sales rep at a local radio station and a staffer for a failed gubernatorial campaign, he decided to join the Navy. And he went to boot camp and scored so well on the aptitude test that he qualified for intelligence service, and he was sent on a 10-month deployment to the prison at Guantanamo Bay, where he worked closely with the detainees. Now, in 2015, he turned down an offer from Ted Cruz's campaign to join Citizens for Trump, where under the tutelage of Roger Stone, he learned the dark arts of rat fuckery. Attack, never defend, admit nothing, and deny everything. By the 2016 presidential campaign, Posobiec had stopped writing on Twitter about films and TV shows, and at last he began to assume an identity that he continues to develop today. A hyper-partisan social media assassin, as the late Jonathan Belania wrote in an exhaustive 2017 profile for Philadelphia Magazine, and a frighteningly good one at that, and that's able to blur the lines between truth and fiction, and right and wrong, and uncannily make the ensuing confusion go viral in the gaslit midnight of the American century. He's basically, this piece of shit has come a long way in a short time, and the Cleveland Park Library is only a mile and a half walk down. It's a mile and a half walk down Connecticut Avenue from Comet Ping Pong, the initial shore from which he launched his first major attack, spawning his 1,000-ship assault in reality that seems only to have grown in strength, and still his recent storytime stunt was just another stop. The following week, he held a demonstration in Lower Manhattan alongside Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene to protest Donald Trump's arrest and arraignment. Now, standing on a park bench, Posobiec shouted into the receiver of a bullhorn, "They can't gag all of us." He was wearing black sunglasses and his blue suit jacket with the collar of his shirt open. And this is the funeral procession of the Republic, he proclaimed. It was hard to tell from the video how he provided just how many people had attended or whether members of the press outnumbered Trump sycophants. Now, all of which perhaps is beside the point. For the rest of the day, he retweeted multiple clips of the speech later that evening on social media. Trump posted Posobiec's line about not being silenced, which Posobiec then posted on Twitter as a screenshot along with the comment, "Thank you, Mr. Squatter," even though Trump has never done anything for anybody. Basically, this guy's a piece of shit promoting a pathetic book that nobody's really interested in. But if you like the video, you can give the video a like and subscribe to my channel. RBW King. You can also hit the notification bell so you'll be notified when a new video comes out. And if you want to support my work even further, you can also leave a comment. Basically, let me know what you think. If you want to support my work even further, you can donate to my Patreon link, which you can find in the belt section of YouTube, and just for as little as a few bucks a video or a month, your donation can help go a long way, and thanks for listening.